The Titles and Metas panel enables you to configure the title and meta settings used throughout your site. Let's take a closer look at each of these options. The WordPress SEO plugin automatically detects whether it needs to rewrite the titles for your pages. This option enables the plugin to modify those titles and should normally be enabled. You can choose the symbol to use as your title separator. That is, the character that appears between the title of your post or page and the site name. The Homepage tab is where you configure the template used to create the title and meta description for your homepage. Now, this can be a bit confusing, so it's important to understand the difference between the actual titles and meta descriptions that you create for an individual page or post and these templates. Ideally, you'll enter a title and description for every page or post in your site as you create them. But the templates you create in this section enable the WordPress SEO plugin to automatically create titles and descriptions in the event you leave those fields empty. This ensures that you're at least providing some information to Google rather than nothing at all. Just like the permalink settings in WordPress, these templates are created by adding variables, like you see here. These variables will be replaced with the actual content when the page is rendered in a web browser. So, for example, site name, surrounded by these percentage symbols, is a placeholder or a variable, which will be replaced by the actual name of your site as you've entered it in your site's general settings. Likewise, the page variable, separator character, and site description variables shown here will be replaced by the actual content from your homepage. So think of these as placeholders, not the actual title of your site, but rather how the title will be structured when it's displayed on your homepage. The Help tab at the top of the page contains a list of available variables you can use in these fields, as well as helpful information about optimizing your titles and more. Here's a pro tip. It's sometimes tempting to leave your site name out of your site titles. Don't. If you don't add it, Google will rewrite your titles and add it back in. So if you add it yourself, at least you get control over what it looks like. If your site displays your blog posts on your homepage, you'll need to use this section to configure the title and description specifically for your homepage. But if you're using a static homepage, you can set the title and description in the SEO settings for that page. The default is the site name or the page title, followed by a separator, then the site description that you've set in your WordPress settings. But you can override that here if you like. If you leave the meta description template field empty, the WordPress SEO plugin will not add a description if you don't specify one. It's not necessarily bad if you don't specify a static description here. Not having a meta description trumps having the same meta description on every page. Now, you can create a useful meta description template by simply using the post excerpt in your meta description template. The remaining tabs in this panel enable you to set up templates for the output of the title and meta descriptions for the posts, pages, media, and any custom post types used in your site. For each type of content, you can also specify whether robots should index that post type or not. If you run a news site or a blog with time-sensitive content, you might want to include the date in the snippet preview, so it mimics the look on search engine result pages more closely. Otherwise, you'll probably want to leave this unchecked. You can also hide the WordPress SEO meta box that appears on the editing screen from certain content types. In most cases, you'll want to leave this unchecked. If your site includes custom post types, like a portfolio or testimonials, for example, each post type will automatically show up here, and you can customize their title template and other SEO settings, just like regular posts and pages. Like the Post Types tab, the Taxonomies tab enables you to customize the title and meta description templates for your categories and tags. in addition to any custom taxonomies in use by your theme or plugins. The Archives tab contains the templates for your site's author archives and date-based archives, as well as your search and 404 pages. By default, these pages will be no-indexed and followed, so they won't show up in search results. This prevents duplicate content errors when your site is indexed. On single-author blogs, you may want to do the same for the author archives, since it's exactly the same content that's already available on your blog homepage and in your category and tag archive pages. Finally, the Other tab contains the site-wide meta settings for your site. It's usually a good idea to no-index the subpages of your archives. This prevents search engines from indexing duplicate content on your site, and it also helps your homepage to retain its authority. Older search engines like Yahoo and Bing still give some importance to meta keywords, but for the most part, search engines no longer use this method, so it's safe to leave this option unchecked. Sometimes Google prefers to use the description of your site from the DMOZ or Yahoo directories. Enabling these two options will instruct those robots to use the descriptions you create rather than the less accurate descriptions that are generated automatically. With these settings and templates in place, the WordPress SEO plugin can create the most effective titles and descriptions for your site.